Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Napoleon, and today we're back with another Enlisted video, and today we're talking about the new Enlisted, the Dev server, because Enlisted has dropped the latest Dev server, and it's pretty interesting. Now, without further ado, this video has been made possible for the friends at Discord. If you haven't liked, subscribe, or joined the Discord, I highly suggest that you do. But that said, let's get started with the update. Starting with new weapons, which there are a lot, we have the USSR, USA, Germany, and Japan getting a lot of new weapons, with the smallest faction getting the least amount of weapons is Japan. That said, let's start with the USSR. For the USSR, they get the PPS H-41 Obrets. This is essentially a downgrade of the PPS H-41 with a 35 round magazine and less hit power, but is given to Guerrilla squads, which is the latest addition to Enlisted, which can essentially go into the gray zone but cannot go into the enemy spawn, and they can carry a lot of TNT charges. On the other hand, the Soviet Union is given the KV-2 1939, and this essentially is a KV-2 without the machine gun, but it has the same 152mm cannon found in the premium KV-2. After that, we have the United States with the Ithaca 37. This is a shotgun that is much worse than the Browning Auto 5 and the Winchester combined, which is an achievement because the sights are bad, but unlike the Browning Auto 5, this thing also is inaccurate. For example, the shots tend to go way up, and that is going to be a problem. Also, the entire thing needs to be recharged every shot like the Winchester 1912, but in this case, it's much worse, like it takes much longer, so that's that. Another addition was already with us since the Tunisia campaign, and that is the A2025 M8. This is essentially an A20 with 9 machine guns, 12.7s, and 12 M8 rockets. This was essentially with us during the campaign, but once Enlisted did the merge, they removed it, and now it's back, so that's that. Getting the lion's share of all the new squads and weapons is Germany. Starting up, we have the premium squad, the 2nd Parachute Regiment, the Beretta M38. This is essentially a 20 round Beretta at tier 1. It is a paratrooper squad, but it is also armed with a bayonet at the end of the Beretta. That said, it is currently not available because, well, it's not in the test server. After that, we have the Marder 3 and the Marder 3H. Both are tank destroyers and both are extremely similar. They're good at taking out tanks, with the 3H version having APCR. That said, the gun is kind of awkward because sometimes you don't really penetrate, even though in some places you should, and it just needs to be essentially checked over to see if the gun actually works. Sometimes. That said, the armor is paper thin for both of these tanks, meaning that essentially it will be destroyed with a single shot, if not machine guns. Moving on, we have the PPS H-41 Obrets, exact same PPS H with a different stock for the Germans. It is exactly the same downgrade of a PPS H-41 with 35 rounds, and it is also given to the exact same Guerrilla squad. There's nothing special except for even less hit power, and it could be even more troublesome considering the fact that this has a really high recoil. So that's that. That's it. Moving on to the mainstay, which is the most interesting one that the German has, and that is the HS-129B3. This is a German plane that essentially flies like a brick because although the flight dynamics are pretty good for a plane this size, it is really hard to fly because this thing is really big and very well armored, at least historically. And mainstay of this plane is the 75mm cannon that is mounted on the thing, so that's insane. It is very slow, the cannon firing rate, but it can take out tanks if you know where you're shooting, and it's really deadly at taking out infantry if you once again know where you're shooting. Surprisingly, this comes at tier 1, which is a shocker considering the fact that this thing has a 75mm cannon, so that's that. For Japan, we have only one thing, and that is the Browning Auto 5. This is a gun that is slightly better than the American Browning in terms of recoil, but that is like comparing 199, so that's that. Overall, this is the exact same copy of the American Browning Auto 5, which means that Japanese are getting the FN Browning Auto 5, and this thing is insane. Just the regular Browning and the American Browning. Both of them are really good. So that's that. Moving on, let's do the recap, and this update is really focused on Germany. My personal gripe is that besides the KV-2, the A20, and the various shotguns, everything is either highly experimental or shouldn't really be in game, at least not for the free-to-play player. For example, the HS-129 should literally be a premium squad, because it is just that OP. I wouldn't be surprised if it basically gets up-tiered and still perform as well against ground targets as, well, some other planes. The PPS H-41s are extremely experimental because rather than the Germans and Soviets both getting weapons that make sense, they're giving experimental PPS H-41s that I have, as of right now, yet to find any source to back up these PPSH-41s. Of course, I do need your guys' help to see if there's an actual historical basis for these PPSH-41s, but if I were enlisted, I would actually either give them bolt actions, shotguns, or even hunting rifles, considering these are essentially militia-type units, and I don't think giving experimental PPSH-41s is a good idea. Hence, what I really think this update is a lot of wacky stuff with a lot of good stuff. That said, this is not a bad update. This has some really cool stuff, such as the Martyrs, the new KV-2s, but at the same time, it really doesn't solve any of the issues that Enlisted have, especially with the merge. So that's that. Hopefully they try better next time, or try to solve and make the merge better. That said, most of these players will be probably using the HS-129, the KV-2, the A-20, the Japanese, or should I say Belgish, or should I say the FM Browning Auto 5 from Belgium. Anything else has either its alternatives or are just bad in my opinion. That said, that is all it for this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the Discord, and I'll see you in the next one.